As one of the most successful and influential women in the world, Sheryl Sandberg, CEO of Facebook, in her book Leanin, profoundly analyzed the root causes of gender inequality in our society. She uncovered the reasons why women lack the courage to lead, build their own careers, or dare to let go and pursue their dreams. From there, she laid out rules for women to break through and achieve success in life. Lean In, the English title of the book I want to introduce today, actually means to move forward. And it is precisely the message Sheryl Sandberg wants to convey to all women. Don't withdraw, bravely step forward, because freedom is allowing yourself to advance. Retreating or standing still will only shackle your life. To succeed and live a happy life, you must dare to overcome the deep-seated fears in your subconscious and mindset, fears that perhaps you yourself are unaware of. Today, the content of this book will help you identify just that. Hi everyone, welcome to Beer Version, the channel that shares knowledge for holistic self-development through inspiring books. This week is a special episode, a gift, and a message of encouragement from Beer Version to all young women who are striving to move forward, but still face countless difficulties and pressures that not everyone understands. However, this is not a book exclusively for women. The career advice in this book is equally effective for men, especially in helping men understand their partners better, thereby improving relationships in love, family, work, and life. I invite you to listen to the sharing on Freedom is Daring to Lean In through Sheryl Sandberg's book, Lean In, Women, Work, and the Will to Lead. To all young women, previous generations fought tirelessly so you could have the freedom to choose, so why are you giving up? If you look at the biographical information about Sheryl Sandberg's life, you might think she had a successful career and an incredibly smooth life. She graduated from Harvard University with a degree in economics, then served as an advisor to the U.S. Secretary of the Treasury, and became assistant dean at Harvard University. After that, she worked at Google, rising to the position of vice president of global online sales and operations. In 2008, she joined Facebook and took on the role of Chief Operating Officer, COO. In 2012, she was the first woman elected to Facebook's board of directors. Throughout her time there, Sheryl was considered one of the most influential and powerful figures in this tech giant. Hearing this, many of us surely can't help but admire Sheryl Sandberg's smooth successes and comfortable life, right? However, after reading this book, you'll realize that any woman faces difficulties in the workplace that men cannot comprehend. The truth is, the entire social culture implicitly suggests inequality for women. It exists and places invisible pressure on their shoulders. Look at this data. According to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, in 2020, the proportion of female university graduates in the U.S. was 59%. In Vietnam, according to UNESCO's 2021 Global Education Report, it was 50.7%, and in Japan, 50.9%. You see, these figures indicate that in many countries worldwide, both men and women have equal opportunities for education, degrees, and employment. But in reality, very few women hold senior positions in companies. In this book, Sheryl Sandberg shares her first experience at a financial firm for a high-level meeting. When she asked where the women's restroom was, the staff there were astonished and said, "There is no women's restroom because no women work here." People often demand that men have a career, but what does society demand of women? This society often perceives that women only need to marry a good man to be happy. This notion even exists within many women themselves. Back then, when Sheryl Sandberg had the opportunity to study abroad, her boyfriend picked her up at the airport. His boss, who was also there, pulled her aside and said, "Good men like him are hard to find." Standing there, she felt nothing but loneliness. Loneliness because she found it so bitter that for a woman who wants to work hard for her future, society still conveys the message that women should marry and have children early, that it's the best option. Or when you look at children's clothing from the brand Greenlery, they often print the phrase, "smart like mommy." This was happening in 2011. In this advanced, civilized era of humanity, people still encouraged little girls to simply be as beautiful as their mothers. In this society, we often hear remarks suggesting that a woman in a high position or leadership role is too strong, too capable, and will struggle to find a husband. Moreover, many implicitly understand that such women cannot easily achieve both a successful career and a fulfilling personal life. Conversely, for men, having both these things simultaneously is taken for granted, without question. Therefore, Sheryl Sandberg argues that in communication, the greatest insult to a woman is not asking her weight or age, but asking, "How do you balance work and life?" Professor Drew Gilpin Faust, the first female president of Harvard University, once told female students in a speech, "Our generation fought so you could have the freedom to choose everything. We believe in freedom, but we didn't think you would choose to abandon your careers." Countless people from previous generations struggled to give subsequent generations the same good working conditions as men. Yet, today's society has too many women giving up this opportunity. They quit their jobs, retreat to dedicate full-time to family care. They don't dare to boldly pursue their own careers. They yield, and sometimes even endure humiliation. Why do women allow the unequal conventions and norms of this society to bind and hinder their steps? The reality is that many social science studies from various governments have proven that when both fathers and mothers have their own careers, issues regarding children, parents, and marriage can develop holistically. When women can share the financial burden of the family, they experience less guilt and distress. And when husbands participate in housework, children grow up smarter and healthier. Therefore, women who have their own careers and can take on various roles in life also experience a significant increase in their mental health and life satisfaction. That's why women themselves need to overcome the chains of prejudice and societal norms. They must conquer the fear of not being liked, the fear of being judged, the fear of failure, and even a fear that still exists in the subconscious of many women, both past and present. The fear of being a bad mother, wife, or daughter. Observing this reality clearly, the author penned a line that awakens countless women. Instead of worrying about how to live with these fears, please ask yourself, if these fears didn't exist, what would you do? So, how will you change this reality of gender inequality, and what will you do to make your life happier and more successful? In the next section, I will share with you Sheryl Sandberg's 8 invaluable pieces of advice from this book. *1. Lean in, sit at the front. In psychology, there's a phenomenon called imposter syndrome. This is a psychological state where, when faced with success or outstanding achievements, people are torn between two feelings, either self-admiration or feeling undeserving of these successes or achievements. Instead, they feel like an imposter. Among women, the second feeling is more common. Once, friends congratulated Sheryl when Time magazine named her one of the 100 most influential women in the world, but she felt awkward and said that the ranking didn't mean anything. Afterwards, her assistant seriously told her, "Your response was terrible. You just needed to say thank you." You see, even individuals with immense achievements and success like Sheryl Sandberg suffer from imposter syndrome. Denying your achievements is not humility. The deeper reason behind it is that you've become too accustomed to underestimating yourself. There's a common practice where women in the workplace often sit on the sidelines during meetings. The first time the author attended a meeting, she did the same. The result was a leader stepping out and telling her, "Please sit at the front. If you sit at the back, it means you don't want to participate. When you sit at the front, you have the opportunity to speak." That's right, we must sit at the front, overcome fear, and bravely step forward with confidence. Only by moving forward can you give yourself the opportunity to express yourself and your thoughts. Only by moving forward can you see a more developed and outstanding version of yourself. And equally important, when you achieve something, confidently embrace it, be proud, and praise yourself. Be confident when starting something, and be confident when achieving results. Leaning in, sitting at the front, is the first step to reclaiming fair assessment and respect in the workplace. *2. Don't leave before you leave. What does this mean? It means the author wants to bring you back to the present so you can focus on your career and the work you're doing, and only then can you succeed. Women often worry excessively about things that haven't happened yet. They haven't reached marriageable age but are already worrying about the future of their married life. They're not pregnant yet but already fear how they will cope once they have children. They worry about childcare, and so on. It is solely because of these plans for marriage, childbirth, and family care that women often decide to leave their jobs. But more seriously, many are very reluctant to return to work. Inside them, a voice emanates from a struggle of worries for their husband and children. In the end, they sigh, I'll just sacrifice for my family, and my husband takes care of the finances outside. You need to know that whether male or female in work, we are essentially at the same starting line of a marathon. When halfway through the race, men always hear cheers like, great job, keep going, reach the finish line. But in a woman's ear, there will be lingering whispers like, maybe you're doing well, but you can't finish this race. Your child at home needs you, doesn't he? Why are you still thinking of yourself and continuing to run? You might think that dedicating a significant portion of your life to caring for your family is the natural calling of a mother and wife, a sacrifice for your family. But in reality, these are ingrained, corrosive thoughts in a woman's mindset due to societal roles established long ago. If you believe in it, you will allow yourself to listen to everyone's persuasion to give up and retreat to care for your family. But now is the time you need to reconsider. You need to fight to balance this gender inequality. Faced with the choice of being persuaded to give up, bravely step forward to do what you truly desire and bring value to life. Listen to your inner voice and live authentically. That's why the author advises women not to hit the brakes when they are accelerating. Always be ready to step on the gas and move forward. Because if you truly want to develop your career and live your own life, you will find ways to manage, organize, and balance work and family. You will find ways to negotiate and communicate with your husband to share family responsibilities with you. The author uses her personal experience to tell us that she was pregnant while working at Google, and even with a baby bump, she could still perform her job well. After giving birth, she only took 2 to 3 months to return to work. So, don't let your body be here while your mind is far away. Conquer ingrained thinking and focus on developing the work you love. Asterisk 3. Make your partner a true life partner. What is a life partner? It's two people with equal responsibilities and rights, accompanying each other through life. Many women do not allow others to interfere with their tasks. There are things only they can do. No one can replace them. Why is it that in most families, all housework falls to the mother, and only the mother can do it well? In fact, it's not true. Women should learn to delegate housework to men. Learn to encourage the whole family to participate together. If you want to build a gender-equal society, then right in your own home, let everything be equal so that your partner is truly your life partner. Asterisk 4. Done is better than perfect. Done is better than perfect is Facebook's motto. Finish first, don't be a perfectionist. Because if you pursue perfection, you will easily fail. This is also true in managing and balancing a woman's life. Because in reality, many women often feel guilty for not being able to do everything perfectly. Housework must be done, and company tasks must be successful. If you're on a business trip far away and your son calls and says, "Mom, I miss you so much," a woman can easily feel guilty for neglecting her child. But in reality, no one thinks that, not even her child. However, this natural sense of guilt in women is very difficult to explain. It may be related to maternal duty and ingrained worries. Therefore, women need to learn to balance and reduce their guilt. Don't think that to achieve balance, you only need to learn time management. Equally important, you also need to know how to control your inner emotions. Because when you're full of guilt or remorse, you'll never be able to focus on one specific task. A study by a Stanford University professor indicated that setting goals is the key to happiness, but it's not about trying to achieve everything, but rather working hard to achieve what we deem most important. So stop asking the question, can I do it all? You don't need to be an all-powerful woman. Instead, ask yourself, can I do the things that are most important to me and my family? Asterisk 5. Dare to be disliked. 2 professors from Columbia and New York University conducted an investigation. They showed people stories about 2 equally capable individuals who became successful entrepreneurs, one named Heidi and one named Howard. However, after the survey, people said they were more willing to work with Howard than Heidi. Why was that? Simply because Heidi was female and Howard was male. The result of this experiment shows us that men's success is directly proportional to popularity, meaning they are successful, so they are also more easily liked, trusted, and supported by everyone. But for women, it's not entirely so. Many women, the higher they climb, the more they face rejection and dislike. That's also a reason hindering many women from wanting to advance further in their jobs or careers. However, you need to understand that women are not born to be people pleasers. As the founder of Facebook told the author, you cannot please everyone. No matter how good we are, there's no way we can satisfy and be liked by everyone. Therefore, in the workplace, the author advises, first, learn to persist gently to express your needs. Second, learn to release your emotions cry if you want to. Third, learn to adapt to the word strong. The author believes that society's prejudice against strong women is because people think women are not suitable for leadership roles. But once the proportion of women in senior management positions reaches 50%, people will naturally get used to it. Asterisk 6. It's not a ladder, it's a jungle gym asterisk. Many people think that career advancement is like climbing a ladder. Either you go up or you go down. However, the author points out that we need to view a career as a jungle gym, not a ladder. With a jungle gym in sports, people can climb horizontally, vertically, move forward, backward, and even go in a circle and come back. The same applies to women, especially those who take a break for childbirth. When they start returning to work, they often feel fearful. Remember that you are on a jungle gym, not a rigid ladder. If you approach your career with a ladder mindset, you will always assume that only those who are good enough can reach the top. Then, those climbing below will probably forever look up and only see the backsides of those ahead. But you don't need to put yourself in that situation. Conversely, when you are on a jungle gym, you can see in all different directions. Your vision expands, and you can conquer fear, thereby always being ready to seize opportunities. There's a common reality that women often feel they must have 100% of the required skills before applying for a job, whereas men only need to meet 60% to allow themselves to apply for a position. Therefore, women need to change their mindset. Don't think, I'm not ready yet, but rather, I want to do it and I can learn as I go. At the same time, the author also advises us that the way to maintain a jungle gym mindset in your career is to have goals. First, you must set long-term dreams, a big goal in your life. What do you need to do to bring value to your life, change the world, or benefit society? And second, you must have short-term goals. In these 18 months, in this year and a half, you need to ask yourself what you can achieve for your workplace or your own career. Asterisk 7. Speak your truth asterisk. Next is an equally important piece of advice. Speak your true thoughts and feelings. There's a common truth that women in the workplace are afraid to voice their opinions because they fear offending someone, displeasing others, lacking team spirit, causing friction, or leading to arguments. The reason for not daring to express thoughts and feelings is because women have high empathy and sensitivity. Due to empathy, we fear hurting others, and due to sensitivity, we don't dare to speak up to protect ourselves. But compare these two statements. You have never seriously considered my proposal, and I sent you 4 emails and you still haven't replied. I am very disappointed. This makes me feel that my proposal is not important. Is that really the case? With these two ways of speaking, which one do you find more effective? Of course, it's the second way. It's expressed according to specific communication principles. State the facts, describe the impact of those facts, and finally, express the result and what you desire. For effective communication, I recommend another very useful book, Crucial Conversations. The purpose of this book is to help you master the most critical moments when interacting with others. For example, when you want to present a passionate plan, but your boss gives you a cold shoulder, or when you ask a colleague to work overtime and receive silence, or when discussing changes in living expenses with your partner and are ignored, or when demanding repayment of a loan but your friend finds every excuse to avoid it. This book will teach you how to handle these situations, not just remain silent. In Vietnam, I've seen a translated version, but the Vietnamese title is quite different from the English. It's called The Art of Elite Negotiation. In reality, conversations and dialogue are different from negotiation because they don't necessarily require both parties to reach an agreement. However, I assure you that this book is not limited to business topics alone. It is truly worth reading and applying to communication in life. Asterisk 8. Start talking about it. Finally, the 8th piece of advice. Start talking about this issue. What issue should we talk about? That's right, gender equality. This issue is like a giant elephant right in front of everyone, but they don't see it, or rather, they pretend not to see it, and women themselves are no different. You need to know that voices can change perceptions, perceptions can change behaviors, and ultimately, behaviors can change institutions. If we want to change first, let's speak up and change our own perceptions. Fighting for this inequality is, above all, a fight to change mindsets and perceptions in both women and men. The first and foremost step is to change the perceptions and mindsets within you. When the author wrote this book, she was not just a CEO, but also carried many thoughts about this society. She hoped that men and women would become equal, and society would be more harmonious. She participated in a TED Talk, a truly excellent speech that you can also watch and learn from. Of course, everything said in this book is her sincere voice, calling on both men and women to strive to promote equality in society, because it concerns the happiness of everyone. For me, when I read this book, I highly encourage the women around me to return to their inner selves, understand themselves, and realize what they are truly good at. Be brave enough to do the work you truly love, boldly start a business, or invest more time in self-development in life and at work. But if you currently don't have the conditions to start a business, it's best to learn how to build a side hustle first. If you are a woman, conquer societal notions. If you are a man or anyone else, you also need to try harder than yesterday, work diligently, and live life to the fullest. I hope this book has brought you many useful insights. Thank you for listening. If you found this video helpful, please share it with those who need it, to jointly illuminate our awareness of the current state of society and work together to build a life where everyone is equal. When others thrive, you thrive too. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give me a like, hit the subscribe button, and turn on the notification bell to catch my latest videos. Once again, thank you all, and I'll see you in the next videos.